What is up, guys?
The Hill Twins are here.
Back at it again with another video.
And this time,
we have Eon, top 16 national finalist. This guy did a thing. I mean, I had so much faith in him regardless, but he sat up there and he played Shenron. He called it. It was definitely the meta or anti-meta or whatever you want to call it. But he went broken. So real quick, before we get into the deck profile, tell them a little bit about your Nats experience. What was your record going into top 16?
Going into top 16, I had an X1 record. I played against you last round.
Yeah.
Wish I would have went into top 16 with an X2, because that would have provided you went into top 16 with an X1. Yeah, I ran Shenron. I still think it's one of the most powerful decks, if not the most powerful deck in the game right now, just because of its ability and just the way the deck is built. And yeah, my matches were cool. It gave me a certain power against a lot of decks.
You were above it.
Yeah, for the most part, I was above it. Especially very early, the matchups just felt like the opponent, for one, they haven't seen Shenron in a while, and two, even if they did, this deck has everything to deal with.
And a lot of people don't know the height of the deck, like
ceiling is really
especially
high.
turn 3, turn 4, they really just don't know.
I lost in top 16 to third place, Jordan Markle, good shit, bro. I swung out on, he had 2 energy. And
game 3.
Yeah, game 3, he had 2 energy, he was awakened.
You went to 90, you went to 95K, he went to 100 with no cards in hand.
Right. So it was a phenomenal match. I mean, that ceiling, just being able to, like, if you go first, being able to threaten game on my third energy, your opponent hasn't even really played the game. So it's definitely a powerful deck, and I can't wait to get into the deck profile and teach you guys how to play with it.
Cool. So let's just jump right into it.
Got you. Okay. So I started off by running 2 negative energy 1-star balls. One, we'll just go into the leader. When he swings, he gets to search the top 5 for any Shadow Dragon and add it to your hand. And then he says at the end of your turn, you can restand one of your Shadow Dragons. And also, his awaken condition is if you have 3 or less life, or if you have a unison with a specified cost of 4, you can flip him over on top 1 energy and draw 2 cards. So he has one of the best awakening conditions, as far as, at least not conditions, but he has one of the best awakenings. Being able to not only net 2 cards but ready up an energy makes him really powerful.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can self-awaken just gives us access to such an explosive awaken turn.
Yeah.
2 negative energy 1-star ball. This allows me to search for the 4-drop. The reason why I only run 2 is because of the fact that I can create the 9-drop a plethora of ways, and this can always come back with the 9-drop. And then once you get 6 or more energy, everything is at your disposal regardless. So that's 2. This searches for the 4-drop. We have the negative energy 5-star ball. This one is really phenomenal. This is the cornerstone of our offense and our aggression. This allows me to play it for 1 energy. It's unaffected by your opponent's skill, so they can't counterplay it. It allows me to attack first, get information without
having they can counterplay it, but they can't.
Power of but power of Super Saiyan. And then I can pop out for no energy investment at all to bring out the 2-drop Dolphin, which you'll see in a few minutes, and the Dolphin, well, a few moments. And the Dolphin is really, really important to our aggression. For the 2-drops, we run 2 Ice, the Cryomancer. He's also important. He's one of the main reasons why we only run 2 of this, because of the fact that the deck space is kind of limited, and this allows us to search our deck for 1 of these balls.
Yeah. So turn 1, you can see 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have 7 times.
And then you can also, Oceanus and or Leader Swing, depending on whether or not
to
you
search it, depending if you go. Yeah.
So now we're going to the 2-drop Rage. This guy is literally he's one of the key cards of the deck. He has crit, so he allows us to be as aggressive as we want. And our opponent has to drop a card. When he swings, you can take 1 life, add 1 life to your hand to give him 5K. So it becomes a 15K crit, which is really important because it's very hard to gap that distance without spending a lot of resources. And a lot of times players will just snap, crit the life. What's also cool is that because he has crit on him, sometimes if you just want to play a longer game and you have like a Magical Bar in your hand and you know you're going to awaken turn 4 and you want to have a high life total, you can just swing and just tell him to drop a card or crit a life. You know, you don't have to take a life. And then he just restands. So against blue, against any decks that don't awaken themselves, they just struggle. And then if you pair that with this, they just continue to struggle and you can crit their life before they awaken. On to the 2 drops, we run super combos because we're good. 3 of the draw super combos, 1 of the Zamasu. Against that final push in top 16, I do wish that he was another one because I ended up having a 5k unison in my hand and I couldn't do anything with it. Another one would have provided that, but this is important in deck building because it adds a certain layer of threat perception. Just showing your opponent this card once makes them second guess you at all of the rounds of that match. So, all of the games of that round. So if you're at game 1, you're sorting this, they're going to play around it.
You're playing, yeah.
Exactly. They're going to play around it all day, which means that your opponent is making less than optimal plays, or they're just overloading themselves trying to play around it, which is also really good because stress is a way to get over your opponent as well. I'll do the 3 drops. 1 double strike chomper. Does wish that I had it in here at 2, but it always came in handy, and I always saw it like turn the first 3 turns of the game. It can't always be night, guys. But that with this is cool, but that with Allies Absorbed is even better. It's guaranteed your opponent's taking 2 life to the drop, which hurts. I do 1 haze and 1 Poutine as well. So these are my 1 3 drops. Haze is very important because 1, if the game goes late, he gets to recur any of your Shadow Dragons 4 or less. But also he has a really cool combo. Having him, he can be necromanced with the Nuova, and he can then evolve. So I'll explain that later. But these are my 1-outs. Do wish I ran Poutine at 2, but deck space was limited, considering that we just had a lot of options viable. We also do 2 Naturon. This card is just phenomenal. This allows you to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards or unison cards being played and switch it to rest mode. Now, it triggers on each time they're played, but you may resolve the effect. If you do resolve the effect, then you negate its skills for the duration of the turn. So it doesn't matter how many times they play a battle card, you can choose to resolve it on the last one. An important note is that if they're playing multiple battle cards in one timing or one effect, he will rest all of them. So that's probably the best time to do it if you know your opponent's going to play multiple battle cards. You just get more value out of it. I do 2 coolers. This deck is really powerful, aggressive, and it runs Celzino. So essentially, I just need to make sure that my damage is going to go through, because early game, I've already put you in a spot where you're playing on your back legs most of the time. So when I get 3 or 4 energy, at such a point, I can just swing and not worry about the cooler negate. Not worry about the Kai or the Pan or any of negates. I do run one Trunks Power of Overseeing Time.
I love this card.
I wish I had it at 2, honestly. This card is here as a contingency to 1, avert terrible mills like milling Celzino or Cooler. So on my kill turn, I will always pick up Cooler or Celzino. Or sometimes you can just grab a super combo. But most of the time, it's either for the Cooler or the Celzino. And if I mill him, then I have a Cooler and a Celzino. So that's cool. Get it? We do 4 Oceanus. This card just makes the deck super duper consistent. Being able to burst 1 makes it so that running the amount of cards that we run in the deck is mitigated. It makes it feel like we're flowing as a 50 card deck, even though we're not. And it has barrier and blocker, which is really important. But what she does is that I can pitch her from my hand, activate main, limit 1, and I can mill 1 card and then search the top 5 for any Shadow Dragon with a cost of 8 or less. And that's practically my entire deck outside of the 9 drop. So essentially I have access to searching for any card if I need it, any of my cards in my engine, which is not many other engines have cards like this. This is what makes this so potent. And it just helps me, it helps you find a way when there is none. And also, in addition to her being a barrier blocker when she's in play, I don't know if she's a he or a she, but whatever. When this card is in play and you attack, you can switch one of your opponent's cards to rest mode. And if you do so, if the card is the cost of 2 or less, then you can KO it instead as well. So that's also really relevant because it allows you to deal with your opponent's blockers. It allows you to control their board. This swing allows you to rest cards, which then allows you to work in tandem with Haze Shenron, which is the next card that's in here. Honestly, he's busted. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. You got anything, nigga, I got a Haze. Like, you know, it's nuts. And so I've done this against Secret Rares. You know, people have dropped their Secret Rares against me or anything against me that needs removing. I'm like, swing with this ability, rest it, now I can haze you. Or if I have a haze in play, I can just swing a haze pitch and then murder you. But Haze Shenron is the next 4-drop we run at 4. This one allows me to, when I combo with it, I can pitch one Shadow Dragon from my hand to the grave. If I do so, this allows me to KO one of my opponent's battle cards in rest mode with a cost greater than their energy, which is every deck in the game. So essentially, I have a layer of defense that most decks don't even have. Most people are not fully aware of. And
it's a Shugashike Goku.
Yeah, it's just difficult to play around. I've had people all in on so many attacks just to be like, oh my God, there's a card like that in your deck. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, bro. And they're like, they all in on a barrier or, you know, something that can't be removed. Like he says it, and then you just go Final Flash, Haze, and then, you know, it's over. I do 3 Shenrons, the Shadow Dragon Leader. Again, the deck has to be able to pivot both offensively and defensively in order to function as a whole. Shadow Dragon Leader helps me with blue matchups, green, any matchup that relies on the leader to swing to gain advantage, as well as, you know, just shutting them down and providing a layer of defense in there. So he's awesome. And also, I'm able to play him without the ball due to my 4 New Over Shenron, which essentially these guys are a 4-drop. But if you have any Shadow Dragon in play, you can reduce the cost in your hand by 3. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a 1-drop 15k. But we never really attack with him unless we're desperate. We have him in here because he allows us to rest himself. He switch himself sideways and burst 2. And he can special summon any Shadow Dragon with a cost of between 2 and 4 and power of 19k or less that we do not have in play. So essentially, if I have turn 1, if I have this, and I have this into the grave, I can burst him sideways, special summon that, and then I can go ahead and evolve into the 9-drop. Yeah. But he just allows us to make really powerful plays and bring back powerful cards. We do 4 of the Allies Absorb. He is the MVP. Games where I didn't have him, I didn't feel as confident in my ability to just control and just maul my opponent and even win at times. But yeah, essentially he's an activate main. You can send 1 Shadow Dragon with a cost of 4 or less to your drop area to play him, and you will draw 1 card. And he has an activate main as well that says that you can send 1 Shadow Dragon to the warp that does not have a name with him. So any non-Shenron to your warp, and he gets to gain that characteristics. They do have to have a cost of 4 or less, however, but he gained their characteristics, their skills. So you can gain barrier blocker and the ability to attack and rest. You can gain double strike. You can gain this effect, which then would be able to necromance 1 of this. You can gain that, everything.
Yeah, you can gain everything basically. This card is nuts.
Yeah, just resetting him is nuts. We ran 3 of the triple striker, Omega Shenron. He was just nuts. He threatened the game almost every turn 3. If I won the die roll, my opponents just could not handle my attacking. Especially if they attacked me, they just couldn't handle it. They would always be at 3 when I was time to strike, and if they don't have a haze or a Final Flash, they just lose.
Yeah, he's so easy to summon, and just one energy, Margin Buu on crack.
Triple strike, energy boosted Margin Buu for those of us who played set 1 and 2 and 3. And then we did 3 of these Shenrons, Destruction Incarnate. He's broken. He's absolutely broken. He's a 2 energy investment. Half of he can be searched out for. The chain can be searched out for. Once he comes down, it doesn't matter what you're playing against. Even if you don't know the deck, it's like you have whatever. I have a 9-drop. Show me what you do. And it was just, it's free. And then the last 2 battle cards in my deck are 10-drop Fu and Cell Zeno. And it's just like, my deck can beat you by turn 3, or I can wait till turn 6 or 5 and have plays like this and this. You know.
Nice. So that's all the battle cards so far.
And then we have the extra cards. It's a little bit unconventional for me, but I definitely enjoyed it. I ran one Flying Nimbus just because I was afraid of having to deal with potential mirror matches. And just to have some layer of added protection because I have a bunch of blockers. So if I needed to drag the game late and my opponent just had a really good game, I could slow them down. And then I did also one Frieza's Army reinforcements. I kind of wish I had that too. It just felt good, especially as a self-awaken factor. You know, it just is a great card. It's a great blocker, and it works really well with this card. I ran 3 Final Flashes. Card is nuts. It's probably one of the best yellow cards, one of the best yellow extra cards in the game. 15k and ignores barrier, negates a skill. Like, that's not fair. We did 3 Power of the Super Saiyans as well. Power of the Super Saiyan, honestly,
just Power of Super Saiyans.
You guys know.
Rest of the cards, draw a card, and if you ever want to use that as a negate, you can.
It's a hard negate, but it's not. It's so good. And then we only ran 3 unisons. Normally I would have run 4, and it would have probably been Mechikabura, but because we can be so aggressive, at times you don't need it. It's more of like a back pan, especially if my opponent is kind of trying to control me and I need a waking condition, or if I'm playing against black. So 2 Mechikaburas and then 1 Vegeta. Again, Vegeta was so good against Gogeta Xeno. Vegeta was also good against the mirror match. Vegeta was good against everything. Literally everything. I had the time. If I wanted to go slow, I had the time to do that. But most of the time it was this, and to this, and to this, and to this, and it was game.
Yeah. So this is the 460 card list, right?
Yep.
Let's jump into your sideboard.
Yep. So my sideboard, I do 2 of this unison. I don't have board clearance. I don't have board removal. I can pacify my opponent's board with cards like that, this, and this, and this, but it's no real adequate, like, solid board removal. So this helps me in matches where my opponent's board is going to go a little bit crazy. I sided the extra 1 Vegeta just in case I needed it, if I was having a bad game against Xeno or the mirror match specifically. It just shuts them down. They can't do anything. I ran 2 Lord Slugs. I hard casted it for 3 because I can afford to do that. Especially if I was playing defensively.
When you got the 9-drop on
board.
if
I have the 9-drop on turn 2, turn 3, I'm tapping off of this, and I'm just chilling. If you try to kill it, I'm going to block, and you can't draw cards. Turn 4, I drop Mechikabura, and now the game is literally over, at least from the control standpoint. Also, if I needed to really play control, I just add that in as well. And again, your opponent can't use cards like this and this without cost, even this. It just became really bad for them against the Icarus matchups. I did very, very well when I put them in because they had to deal with multiple cards on board. They had to deal with this, they had to deal with that, this, potentially. Just too much for them to deal with. Yeah. They were overloaded. I had 2 Deborahs. I honestly wish that I ran more, that I respected Cell Xeno more. Cell Surge more. I didn't respect Cell Surge, ironically, and I got beat by the best, one of the best, I would consider Jolly the best Cell Surge player that I've ever played against outside of Eric. He runs it like Tricolor Ginyu, so it's pretty nuts. I should have respected it and probably added a 3rd one. I never saw them ever. But I normally don't struggle against the Cell matchup, which was weird. But yeah, Deborah probably should have been at 3. 2 Mechikaburas. Now, I loved it because essentially the only card that I was afraid of is 10-drop Fool. That's the only card that can overrun this deck. So play it on turn 5 and then you win turn 6. 2 Koitsukais against the Icarus matchup and against a lot of other matchups that worked. Tyrannical Blow was also in the deck at 2 against Icarus. Like we mentioned before, just being able to have this proc every time they special summon the 1-drop, I can just touch their board. And then 1 additional Flying Nimbus if I needed to defend myself adequately.
Nice.
And yeah, so that was this is my Nats top 16 since Shenron deck. For the fans, I hope I didn't let you guys down. I did my best. And I really was going for the top 2 slot. I really wanted to send Shenron.
Yeah, so the plan was he was actually going to score.
I was going to concede.
In finals, so he could get the
It didn't matter. It didn't matter who I was playing against. I was going to concede in finals because I really, really wanted that card. But I'm really in love with this deck. If you guys are interested in learning more about the deeper inner workings of it and what makes it so potent, so powerful, you can go ahead and comment below, and I'll be okay with doing an analysis video just going into it. But I still think this is one of the best decks of this format, and it's gonna put out a lot of trouble. And once it starts getting traction, it's gonna be rough mirror matches. But overall, this is Sin Shenron. This is my list. And
Yeah,
I hope you
pretty
guys
nuts.
enjoyed it. My experience was incredible. Thank you to Core TCG. Thank you to all the judges, the head judge. You guys did an excellent job. We waited 2 years, and you definitely delivered. It was fun seeing all the players competing. It was an amazing time. The Hill Twins haven't come to you guys with content in a while, but we will start going ahead and putting out content again. So, stay tuned. As always, guys, it was a pleasure, and
Stay super. Universe Z
University
out.